All right, I'm going to close here and just talk about some strategic ways, to be more proactive and not reactive. First thing, like most of what we said, is the need to be long term. All right. Yesterday we were talking about planting pineapple in our farm. My wife was like, it's going to take 2-3 years for it to mature, and for her, it's a no-go. It is the price to pay to have pineapple as something to sell, right? I'm not in the farming business for the short term. I'm in there for the long term, right? I'm investing money there for the long term, not the short term. So the time it would take to reap does not discourage me, because I'm planning again for the short term and the long term. Some things with long term, we'll go with it. We also need something in the short term so that we don't run out of money. So we're doing things in the short term to make sure we don't run out of money. We're doing things in the long term to make sure that we don't run out of business, right? It's all part of the plan, right? So you're not just focused on one, right? Like I gave an example of the Mormons in Utah. The roads they built were good enough that they didn't have to change the road when they converted from wagons to automobile, right? They were long-term in thinking. They were thinking long-term, right? Not just what will satisfy us now. JF Kennedy made the decision, let's go to the moon, right? It wasn't something that they could do immediately. They had to do a lot of experimenting and years of doing that to be able to get there. But that long-term thinking created the civilization that got them to the moon, right? So if you're going to make it in this life, it's not just about this year. It's not about this week. You got to think about the long term. When I leave this life, how do I want to live? How do I want to die? Right. When I know how I want to die, then I start from the short term. What do I need to do today? Start doing today. What can I do today so that I can achieve the long term? Right. That's the way you take over your life. That's the way you have mastery over life. Right. If you don't have long term, you can't have mastery over life. Right. You have to seek to understand people, right? Because life is all about connection, right? Life is about people, right? It's about connection. None of us can live life on our own. None of us can survive on our own. We need to be able to learn how to relate with other people, learn how to connect with other people, right? And that's one of the problems of people in marriage and relationship, right? It's not because they don't love one another, but because they don't know how to live together, right? How to live together, how to understand one another, which is, for me, in our dialect, is a prayer typically made for people. They say that they will understand themselves, right? Because that's what it takes to live together. That's what it takes to have a relationship. That's what it takes to be in a marriage, that the two understand one another, right? And then helping one another on the journey of life. Right? You have to develop organizational skills, right? And pretty much it's organizational skills, not because you have a business. You have to be able to organize your own life, right? And some of this has to do with being able to understand what is strategic, what is tactical, and when to do what, right? You don't get yourself too bogged off with little details when you're supposed to be looking at things at a high level. You don't stay at the high level and miss the small details also. That's all about being able to manage the affairs of your life, right? And we're a whole organism, right? Everything that every personality, organism is organic, is something that is alive, something that is living. And every human being is an organic entity, and the ability or the skill with which you can handle yourself will determine whether you succeed or fail in life. Because everything that takes place inside of you determines the way you're able to engage with the people, with other people, right? Whether it be your peers, your junior, your wife, or whoever, right? If you cannot control your life, then you cannot succeed in life, because you can then not control your interaction with other people, right? Other thing about it is the aim for 80-20. I grew up a perfect person, a perfectionist, right? So perfectionist, we always want everything to be 100%, right? We become a slave to that. But I've grown out of that. I've had to have 4 years of depression to tell me that I that's not a part for me. That's not a part of life. So I'm no more a perfectionist. I see have a very high work ethic, but if it's not perfect, it's not perfect. I'm not gonna kill myself over it. I do my best, but after I've done my best, that's all I can give. I'm not gonna kill myself because of what someone thinks about what I've done, right? So, but then also another part of it is be able to know how to schedule your time, right? Know how to plan your time, and this has to do with time management, has to do with important and urgent that we spoke earlier on. Dwight, who is the 34th president of the US, talks about the need to be able to focus 80% of your time, right, on the things you will normally do, and finding 20% to be able to plan, how to improve and get better at life. More like 20% is focused on treating the urgent things, and 80% is focused on doing the important things in your life, getting the right balance, and that keeps you on a proactive level. Yeah, pretty much. And also talks about the need to be open to ideas, not to be locked up, not to think that I know it all, right? A person that thinks I know it all is a pessimist, right? It seems like he knows already the future. And for a pessimist, the future is always dark, right? Yeah, you need to leave some space for God, for miracles, because life is about miracles, right? No matter how bad a thing is, there's always an opportunity for you to get better, right? So don't close your mind to things be getting better. Same thing we spoke about, answering Kevin's question last Sunday on the difference between being problem-minded or solution-minded. If all you're doing is looking at the problem, you're a pessimist. You always look for, you don't see the possibilities. But all you're seeing is, oh, it's a problem, it's a problem, it's a problem. Like you need to be able to see beyond the problem and see how to solve the problem, see how miracles can happen, right? If though you don't find the answer in your head, there is still a place for miracles, and we need to leave that, leave that place for miracles, right? That's the way to live life, with joy, as it were. And lastly, it's that place of having a calm demeanor, pretty much is being in control of your emotions. One of the things we learned from the last book we read, Cleopatra's Riches, is that emotions affect our relationship with money, our ability to earn money, our ability to grow money, and our ability to enjoy money. If you're not in control of your emotions, you're going to make a mess of your life, because you're going to drive the right people away from your life, So there's a reason need to stay in control of our emotions, right? And Mickey Markovic talks about that proactive leaders are compassionate, they're loyal, they're integrity-filled, they're straightforward, they're calm, they're direct, they're fair, they're polite, they're helpful, and they're thoughtful, right? They're pretty much in control of their life. Scripture will tell us that a man that cannot control the spirit is like a city without walls, right? But when you're in control of your spirit, then you're guarded, you're protected, and then you're able to live life rightly. Let me just check. So Kevin, I'm on the last slide before I go into the next, the last slide and the next part of this. Any question, anything you want to bring to fore before I kill it with the last slide?
I don't have a question, sir.
All right, good. So we're all together. All right. So the last slide just talks about the need to have the right energy, right? I have a book that I'm working on. Each time I have the title of the book is I Am Energy, right? It's having the right energy and maintaining your energy, right? And anyone that knows me knows that I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of energy around life. I'm a bubbly person. You cannot be dull around me. That's just my life, right? And it's the word enthusiasm. Enthusiasm is the word taken from ethos, within. Enthusiasm is a God within. For as long as there's a God within, you are going to be bubbling. You're going to have energy to live by. All right. And your energy determines the people you attract and the people you distract, you, as it were, push away from you. Right. If you have the right energy, you're going to attract the right things. Right. It's just like we say again, if you're happy, you attract happiness. If you're sorrowful, you attract sorrowfulness. Right. Life does not pity you. Life is not about pity, right? You're sorrowful doesn't mean life will then bring happiness. No. Life, you attract who you are. You attract what you give out, right? So it's a law of attraction. If you want to be happy, you got to give out happiness, right? If you want joy, you got to give joy out. Nature is not sentimental. So if you're going to take charge of your life, then you're then going to keep your enthusiasm, your energy alive, because whatsoever you give out is what you get.